Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. If I gave you $1 million right now, but said you couldn't use your mind to manage it, how long would you stay rich? The truth is, mental discipline is the foundation of every kind of wealth, financial, personal, and emotional. When people fail, it's not because they are stupid. It's because they don't know how to manage their time. And folks, your calendar is your bank. Every wasted hour is a lost opportunity. You have 24 hours, same as the richest people in the world. The only difference, they use their time with military-level discipline. Wealth doesn't start in your wallet, it starts in your mindset. If you're thinking poor, scared, or small, no money in the world will save you. You must train your thinking like a professional athlete trains for a championship. That means reading when others are scrolling, planning when others are partying, and staying calm when others panic. Mental discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Especially then, let me tell you something, success is boring, it's repetition. It's doing the right things daily, not when it's convenient, but when it's necessary. And success doesn't reward those who move fast, it rewards those who move consistently. Small wins daily, smart thinking hourly, time management by the minute. Discipline is not about being hard on yourself, it's about being honest with yourself. Ask yourself every night, did I invest my time like I want to? Build wealth. Did I train my mind like I want to be strong? Did I focus like my future depends on it? Because it does. Train your mind, respect your time and wealth. Not just money, but freedom will. Although, thank you. Most people think success starts with talent, luck, or money. But the truth is, success starts with how you manage your time. If you can't control your 24 hours, you can't control your future. Time is the most valuable currency in the world, and once it's spent, you don't get it back. Money lost can be earned again. Opportunities missed can sometimes return, but time, once it's gone forever. That's why the people who win in life are not the ones who have more talent. They are the ones who master their time. Like a CEO masters a company. Time management is not about filling your day with activities. It's about choosing the right activities. Most people are busy but not productive. They run around from morning to night, constantly checking notifications, attending pointless meetings, responding to messages, and then wonder why they feel stuck. The reality is, they're letting time control them instead of the other way around. If you don't tell your time where to go, someone else will. Discipline with time means you don't just live by default, you live by design. You plan your day before the day starts. You don't wait for motivation, you build systems. You wake up and know exactly what needs to be done, in what order, and why it matters you. Avoid the trap of random habits and instead follow a structured routine that brings you closer to your goals. The difference between successful people and average people is that successful people don't waste the morning. They treat it like gold because the first few hours of your day set the tone for everything that follows. Time management is not only about schedules, it's about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for your dreams. When you allow distractions to steal your attention, you're silently telling yourself, your goals can wait, but dreams don't wait. They fade and eventually they disappear if you don't guard your time like it's your life, because it is. If you want to see where your life is going, just look at how you spend your time. If your calendar is filled with entertainment, gossip, and distractions, don't expect a future full of growth, wealth, and progress. Time is the mirror of your priorities. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your time habits. You can have ambition, but if your time is spent poorly, ambition becomes nothing more than daydreaming. People say they don't have time, but that's not true. Everyone has the same time. The successful entrepreneur, the athlete, the student, the artist, all have 24 hours. The difference is in how they treat those 24 hours. Some people waste it on social media, some use it to build skills, some let it slip by while complaining. Others turn it into strategy, study, and self-growth. 1 hour used wisely is worth more than 10 hours of distraction. That's how momentum is built. Not in massive leaps, but in daily discipline. Don't forget, it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter with your time. Know when to focus, know when to rest, know when to say no. Most importantly, know that every minute has a purpose. The earlier you develop a sense of urgency about your time, the faster your life begins to align with your vision. Time doesn't slow down for anyone. The world will not pause for you to get your act together. You have to take control now or time will control you forever. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They are ruthless with how they use their time. They guard it, they schedule it, they discipline it because they know that mastering time is not about watching the clock, it's about doing what the clock won't wait for. Your mind is the strongest weapon you have, but only if you train it, like any muscle in the body. If you don't use it with purpose, it weakens. If you feed it junk, it gets slow. If you never challenge, it becomes lazy. Most people walk around with untapped mental potential because they've never trained their thinking to work for them. They've only let it react to whatever comes at them. They live on autopilot, not discipline. Mental strength isn't about being born smart. It's about building sharp thinking habits daily. Just like going to the gym, training your mind requires effort, repetition, and discomfort. You don't read one book and become a genius. You don't solve one problem and become wise. You become mentally strong by pushing your thoughts into uncomfortable zones every day. You analyze, you reflect, you observe, you learn. A trained mind doesn't panic in chaos, it calculates. It stays calm while others react emotionally. It sees options while others see only dead ends. And that's the difference between people who move ahead and people who stay stuck. The ones who train their minds understand that thoughts are tools, and every tool gets sharper with repetition. Training your mind also means filtering what you allow into it. Most people are mentally weak, not because they're incapable, but because they consume trash daily, mindless scrolling, negative content, drama, gossip. That's like feeding your brain sugar every hour. It feels good in the moment, but it damages your focus, your confidence, your ability to think long term. You wouldn't eat garbage and expect to be physically healthy. So why fill your mind with it and expect to succeed? You must become intentional with your mental inputs. Read things that challenge your worldview. Watch things that inspire growth. Talk to people who stretch your thinking. Feed your mind with discipline, and it will start producing ideas, decisions, and clarity that move your life forward. Mental training is also about how you talk to yourself. Weak minds are full of self-doubt, excuses, and emotional noise. A strong mind questions those thoughts. It doesn't let fear run the show. It rewrites the inner script. It replaces I can't with how can. See, that simple shift is the result of practice. You have to catch yourself thinking small and train yourself to think strategically. That's not inspiration, that's mental muscle discipline, your mind to focus. Most people are distracted because they've never practiced focusing. They don't even realize their brain has been hijacked by short-term pleasure. When you train your focus, you build stamina for deep thinking. You start solving real problems, you start creating value, you move from noise to signal. And signal is where success lives. Just like physical training, mental training is painful at first. Reading, when you're tired, thinking through problems, when you'd rather escape, saying no to distractions that tempt you every hour. But that pain is the process. You don't get stronger by doing what's easy, you get stronger by doing what's necessary. Repetition is everything. One disciplined thought repeated daily becomes a belief. That belief becomes a decision-making system. That system becomes your lifestyle, and your lifestyle becomes your future. It all starts with small, disciplined mental reps. Every time you choose clarity over chaos, every time you reflect instead of react, every time you focus instead of scroll, you're training your mind to win. Most people wait for life to get easier. Mentally strong people train for life to get harder. They prepare. They think ahead. They adapt. They don't break because their mindset has been tested. They've rehearsed difficulty in their minds so that when difficulty shows up in real life, They don't fold, they perform. The stronger your mind becomes, the more pressure you can handle. Pressure reveals what kind of mental shape you're in. Weak minds collapse, trained minds rise. Not because they're fearless, but because they've practiced discipline under fire. One of the biggest mistakes people make is chasing quick money instead of building lasting wealth. They think about this week's paycheck, this month's bonus, today's comfort, and completely ignore the bigger picture. This mindset keeps people trapped in short-term cycles. You get paid, you spend. You wait for the next payday, and the cycle repeats. No matter how much money comes in, it's never enough. Why? Because the thinking is small, reactive, and short-lived long-term thinking is what separates successful people from the rest. It's not about being rich tomorrow, it's about being free in 5, 10, 20 years. It's about making moves today that won't pay off instantly, but will pay forever, while others are spending on liability. Long-term thinkers are investing in assets, while others are trying to impress the world. Long-term thinkers are quietly building something that will last. Thinking long-term means saying no to quick pleasure so you can build something meaningful. It means sacrificing weekends to build skills. It means saving money not just for emergencies, but for opportunities. Most people only think about the weekend winners, think about the next decade. That's the difference. It's not about intelligence, it's about vision and patience. If you're only focused on payday, your decisions become desperate. You take whatever pays more. Now, not what teaches more. You avoid discomfort, and you never grow. But long-term thinkers know that learning today pays more tomorrow. They're okay with earning less now if it means building capabilities that will multiply later. They see time as an investment, not a cost. A long-term mindset also protects you from emotional decisions. You don't panic when you don't see instant results. You don't quit when things get tough. You don't face trends that disappear next month. Instead, you plant seeds, you water them, and you wait. Most people quit before the tree even sprouts. But the patient ones, the strategic ones, they harvest later, what others never even started. People who think long-term also understand the power of compounding, not just in money, but in habits, reputation, knowledge, and relationships. A small, smart decision repeated over years leads to massive gains, but that only happens if you're consistent. Consistency requires belief in the future. It requires faith that what you're doing now will matter later, even when no one is clapping for you. Short-term thinkers get discouraged quickly. They want rewards instantly. If it's not making money this month, they quit. But success doesn't work that way. Big rewards go to those who delay gratification. The business that's not profitable yet, give it time. The skill that's hard to learn, keep practicing. The investment that grows. Let's just slowly let it sit. Most people dig up their seeds before they even sprout. The long-term mindset isn't just about business, it's a lifestyle. You eat healthy not just to look good now, but to live longer. And better, you read not just to pass time, but to sharpen your mind for decades. You build relationships, not just for today's gain, but for lifelong trust. Everything you do either takes you closer to the future you want or pushes you further away. Short-term thinking is reactive. Long-term thinking is strategic. You stop trying to win arguments and start trying to win in life. You stop spending on validation and start spending on growth. You stop caring about being liked now and start working on being respected later. When your mind is focused 10 years ahead, today's problems don't shake you, they guide you. Thinking long-term also builds resilience. You're not chasing comfort, you're chasing purpose. And purpose doesn't pay instantly, but it always pays more. It makes you unstoppable because you have a reason to keep going when others quit. You have a bigger mission. You have patience with a target. You're not just working for money. You're building a legacy. In today's world, distractions are more dangerous than failure. They don't just waste your time, they steal your potential. Every ping, every scroll, every meaningless conversation is a silent thief. You don't even feel the damage until you look back and realize how far you are from where you should have been. Growth demands focus. Focus demands the ability to say no, not once, but daily, consistently, without apology. Distractions don't always look like problems. They look like fun. They look like news. They look like entertainment, but underneath, they are pulling you away from your vision. You say you want success, but every time you pick up your phone for no reason, every time you chase someone else's approval, every time you delay what matters most, you're saying yes to distractions and no to your future growth. This is not something that happens by accident. It's not passive, it's intentional. You grow when you make space for growth. And to make space, you must eliminate what doesn't serve you. That means removing toxic habits, cutting down digital noise, reducing gossip, and protecting your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your future is being shaped by what you focus on today. The truth is, the people who grow the fastest aren't the smartest. They're the most focused. They know how to lock in. They don't let outside noise control their inside direction. While others are glued to trends, they're deep in discipline. While others chase likes, they chase skills. While others waste energy on drama. They double down on goals. That's not talent, that's intentional mental discipline to grow. You must protect your attention like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Distractions are designed to be addictive. They want you weak, reactive, and easy to control. But every time you say no, you take back power, you build muscle. You remind yourself that you control your time, your thoughts, and your destiny. Growth starts when you stop needing to be entertained all the time. It starts when you choose books over noise, planning over scrolling, solitude over shallow conversations. People fear boredom, but boredom is where creativity begins. In silence, your mind can breathe. In focus, your ideas sharpen. In isolation, your path becomes clearer. Saying no isn't about deprivation, it's about elevation. You're not missing out, you're leveling up. You're removing low return activities to make space for high value growth. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to purpose, you say yes to momentum, you say yes to becoming someone the old version of you would admire. But make no mistake, distractions don't go away easily. They fight back. The world is built to pull your focus. Your phone is designed to steal your time. People around you may not understand why you're cutting back on social media or why you're not available for every hang-up, but growth requires boundaries, and boundaries aren't walls. They're filters. They keep out what doesn't belong so your energy can go where it should. You can't grow when you're always reacting. You grow when you build habits that move you forward. Reading, writing, learning, building, reflecting, and all of that takes time and concentration. If you're always chasing notifications, you're not building anything real. You're just busy being busy. Focus is what makes work powerful. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Look at the most successful people in any field. They're not everywhere. They're not doing everything. They've mastered the art of subtraction. Less noise, fewer tasks, clear direction, one goal at a time, one mission that matters, one skill developed deeply. That level of growth only comes when you say no to the 1,000 things pulling you off track. If you want to grow fast, learn to slow down and focus. Growth is not speed, it's depth. And you can't go deep when you're constantly distracted. You have to choose dopamine or discipline, scrolling or building, reacting or creating. You don't need more time, you need fewer distractions. You don't need more motivation, you need more clarity. You don't need permission, you need commitment. Pressure is part of life. It shows up whether you ask for it or not. It comes in the form of deadlines, failures, expectations, uncertainty, and responsibility. The difference between those who rise and those who fall isn't the presence of pressure. It's how they respond to it. For some, pressure becomes a cage. It locks them in fear. It paralyzes their thinking. It makes them retreat, doubt, and shrink. But for others, pressure becomes fuel. It sharpens their thinking, strengthens their will, and pushes them into higher performance. Pressure is energy. It doesn't care what you do with it. It just shows up. You decide whether to collapse under it or convert it into momentum. Most people think success means escaping pressure, but the truth is, the higher you go, the more pressure you carry. Growth invites responsibility. Ambition demands pressure. If you want to win, you don't avoid it. You learn to work with it. You learn to work with it. You let it shape you, not shatter you. You don't build resilience when things are easy. You build it when your back is against the wall, and you keep moving anyway. That's where real mental strength is developed, not in comfort, but in challenge. Pressure reveals what you really believe about yourself. If your mind is weak, pressure will magnify doubt. If your mind is trained, pressure will bring out your fire. You can tell a lot about a person by how they handle stress. Some people panic, some freeze, some complain, but those who rise, they breathe. Deeper, think clear, and act faster. They don't run from pressure, they use it as feedback. They ask, what is this trying to teach me, and how can I grow through this? That mindset transforms problems into power. Pressure also forces decisions. When you're under pressure, there's no room for pretending. You either commit or quit. You focus or get distracted. You execute or make excuses. That's why pressure is a gift. It strips away everything fake and exposes the truth. It shows you what matters. It brings your priorities into sharp focus. People who grow under pressure are people who see pain as part of the process. They understand that diamonds are formed under pressure, not in comfort. Steel is forged in fire, not in silence. The greatest breakthroughs happen when you feel like breaking down, but choose to push forward. That's when character is built. That's when leaders are made. The problem is not the pressure. It's your relationship with it. If you see pressure as a threat, it will crush you. If you see it as a test, it will build you. It's not about avoiding stress. It's about learning to operate under it with clarity, strategy, control. The best performers in the world are not pressure-free. They're pressure-trained to use pressure as fuel. You must reframe your mindset. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for? Every challenge, every tight deadline, every hard situation is preparing you for the next level. But only if you stop resisting it and start learning from it. You also need to control your response when pressure hits. Your first reaction is emotional, that's normal, but success requires you to move past that emotion and into execution. You need to stay calm when everyone else is losing control. You need to think long-term when the short-term feels like chaos. That skill only comes through repetition, by facing pressure again and again until it no longer scares you. Pressure is the gym for your mind. You build strength by showing up and lifting heavy when it's uncomfortable. You build confidence by surviving moments when everything inside you wanted to quit. And every time you survive that moment, something changes in you. You become more focused, more disciplined, more dangerous. You stop fearing pressure and start respecting it. When people say they want success, they often forget what success demands. It demands pressure. It demands emotional control. It demands decisions under fire. That's not a punishment, it's preparation. The bigger your goals, the more pressure you must be willing to handle. But when you master it, you become unshakable because now pressure doesn't cage you, it fuels you. In conclusion, mental discipline is the invisible foundation behind every visible success. It's not built in one day. It's developed through consistent decisions that shape how you think, how you use time, and how you pursue long-term wealth. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who avoid failure, pressure, or distraction. They're the ones who've learned to master their mindset in the middle of it. When you master your time, you stop living by reaction and start living by design. When you train your mind like a muscle, you become sharper, stronger, and more focused. When you think long-term, you stop chasing short-term comfort and start building a future of true freedom. And when you learn to say no to distractions, you finally create space for growth, clarity, and discipline. Most importantly, when you use pressure as fuel, you turn struggle into strength and resistance into resilience. Success doesn't come from one big breakthrough. It comes from mental habits that are repeated every single day. It's the small disciplined choices that eventually separate the ordinary from the exceptional. If you want to succeed, build your mind first. Everything else will.